Project, and you live so far out in the middle of
Nowhere.
God's country that we decided, you said that we weren't sure we were going to have internet service. So then you called and said, why don't I just come out?
Yeah.
Here you are. Yay. So Bonnie Zimmermann is, there we go. There's the notification. We didn't wait long enough.
Okay.
So people will start coming in now. And let's give it a couple of minutes, but I have been a long supporter of the Indonesian Parrot Project for many years. And something I wanted to talk about, here they come. Hey, Eva. Sorry, we didn't give it long enough, so you'll see people coming in right here. Yep, so here come people. We didn't give it long enough. We went live right at 12 o'clock, but I didn't see the notification go out right away, so we started it again. And then I had to type everything out all over again. Hey, Anna. Hey, Bobby. We're having fun on the event page. So I can see everybody texting, so I'm sure the events page at the Animal Behavior Center is blowing up. There's Susie Chen. Hello,
Hi.
everybody. There's Judy. Hello from Toronto. Okay. Hey, Donna. Hey, Nancy. There's Nancy from rainy Key West, Florida. There's Jeannie. I'll be out to see her. Adrian, Lori. So anyways, I have been a longtime supporter of the Indonesian Parrot Project. And I just want to say real quick that and this is pretty important because we haven't talked about this in any of the live streams yet.
Okay.
We live streamed yesterday from my personal page. We live streamed last night in the Parrot Project right here, out here. And this is a special live stream for everybody on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page. This will be shared on the Indonesian Parrot Project's page. But one thing we didn't talk about yet is Tickle Wickle, is how people get interested in conservation. A lot of times that's through the animals we work with at organizations or the animals we have in our homes.
Right.
So I found the Indonesian Parrot Project probably 15 years ago through Rocky, the Moluccan cockatoo, in the background whistling and saying tickle wickle. That's how I found, and that was my introduction to conservation, was through an animal that I adopted in, didn't know a lot about. And once I found out how amazing these creatures were, I was like, then I started doing the digging. Where do they come from? And isn't that like common?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but anyways, okay, we're starting to get a lot more viewers. Yes. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Coffee with the Critters. Here is Executive Director Bonnie Zimmermann. And Bonnie, this is going to be very interactive. So I'm really going to try to pay attention to what you guys are saying. And as people say things, Bonnie, I can do something like this.
Oh, cool.
I can, and it's not showing, but hopefully that's showing up on the live stream, but I can bring it up on the camera. And Adrian says, Indonesian Parrot Project is an amazing organization. Okay, so do you want to tell us a little bit about the Indonesian Parrot Project?
Sure. The Indonesian Parrot Project was founded in 2001, and it was founded by Stuart Metz and Barbara Bailey. Both of them had cockatoos, as you're talking about, birds that they were really interested in. And they made a trip to Indonesia to see the birds in the wild. And when they did that, they discovered about the illegal trade and what a mess things are there. So at that point, they decided to invest themselves and start working on a lower level to do everything they could to protect all Indonesian parrots and cockatoos, but especially the endangered cockatoos. They were doing very well. I met them in 2003 after working in Tambupada, and Dr. Stuart Metz came to me and said, you're crazy. You'd be the perfect person to run ecotourism program. And it's because I'm a field person. So I agreed to go to Indonesia in 2003. I did so for a month, and I had a complete epiphany. When I got there and I saw the birds and I saw the situation with the trapping and the smuggling.
Can I show some of the photos?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You don't need to see me. it was kind of astounding. Now, the cockatoo in the water bottle, that has been a relatively recent one. That was from May.
Sorry.
But unfortunately, that's okay. Whoa. Whoa.
There you go.
Okay. But unfortunately, it's still commonplace.
And we were talking about, this is a hard photo to take a look at.
It's a hard photo to take a look at. And
but that's what the Indonesian Parrot Project is all about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We don't want to see this happen anymore. And so I'm actually going to jump into the talk about the illegal trade for a little bit first, because I've been doing this for 15 years. So I've been working in the field and working directly, focusing on this issue because it's part of our mission. The trade is bad. In Indonesia, literally probably in North Maluku and South Maluku, anywhere between 9,000 and 12,000 parrots are trapped every year for the illegal trade. Most of them are not going to pets. I mean, they're going out of the country. There's some people that keep them as pets as a status symbol, but most of the time the birds are getting smuggled through Manado to the Philippines, where they are moved out to other parts of the world. The mortality rate on these birds is really high. It's devastating. Frequently they're kept as police evidence. We get a lot of them, hopefully, to rehabilitate. But the big problem is it's not the person at the small level. The trappers, the people who are starving, their families, these people who make $5 a month, they were doing it so they could feed their children. If we mitigate this and we work with them at the local level and find them ways of sustainable income, bringing help to the women and the children, doing things and bringing them in, you can change that. You can change that, because if they don't trap them and they have food for their tables and they have what they need, they don't do it. And so it's the middleman that are the problem. It's the traffickers and everybody above. And I'll talk about that because there's a lot of activity going on in Indonesia. But one of the things that's really kind of striking and important is the fact that when these parrots are confiscated from the illegal trade, they become police evidence. Now, sometimes that adjudication process takes a long time. That's bad because the birds aren't in good conditions, and most of the time they pass away, they die. However, we have a rescue center that we founded in 2004. And what our dream was, and especially Stuart Metz, was to find a way to return these birds back to the wild whenever possible. Not an easy, it's a difficult project, but we've been successful. As of to date, we have returned 1,200, which is not many, parrots and cockatoos back into their endemic forest homes, about 250 Moluccan cockatoos altogether.
Yay.
Yay. But what it does is it doesn't really complete the population and change it back. What it does is it gives a strong message of conservation. If the local people, the Indonesian government, and everyone else understands that these birds are valued, that they're not something to be trapped and thrown away, that they're something that has value because they're endangered and they belong to the community, that sends a strong message that goes to everybody. So it's really important for us to continue fighting this. We're also working with a lot of different species of cockatoos and parrots and some critically endangered ones. We have a lot of stuff. I see that I'm tired of what the people do with these animals too. Thank you. It's even easier to say.
Yep.
Yeah, it is responsible of the people of this perching. Also, a lot of these birds are being taken for breeding programs in other countries.
Other countries such as what countries?
India, China, a lot of Southeast Asia, some European countries, but mostly that is the big old trade. The big old trade. Speak English much?
I knew what you meant.
I'm a little nervous. That's okay.
It's a lot.
They agree.
Welcome to Indonesia.
Thank you.
We can't. It usually doesn't last long, and we talked about this morning. Do we want to do this in the bird room?
Yeah,
do we
we
want to
do.
do this
Of
in the
course.
training room where it's quiet? And we're like, no, let's do it in the bird room.
The birds are. Absolutely. Yeah, I see some activity there. They're very excited. they happen to know that the wild cockatoo mom is here, so.
Oh, Rico. Let's give it a minute.
Okay,
Well, we could also show the shirts that we're wearing.
that's right. There we go. I'll just lift myself up. There we go.
There we go. We're going through an extinction burst behind me. Rico's usually part of Coffee with Critters, and he knows that. Let me do something about this real quick.
Okay. He's pretty excited. I was talking to Rocky yesterday afternoon in Indonesian to see what would happen. He really got excited, so his roots are there.
Yeah, what did you say to him in Indonesian?
I said, "Apa kabar?" Hi, Angela. They got your tops going. And I also told him he's a Kakatua merah muda, which means he's a pink cockatoo.
And how did he respond?
He danced.
Oh, good. Appropriate. Yeah.
You need one of those shirts, Adrian? Not screaming cockatoos?
Okay, so where were we?
We're in the noisy part. I'm going to talk a little bit about the founding of the Rescue Center because it's really important. Once we decided that there was a need for screaming parrots like this, these beautiful ones, to have a chance for second chance, we went ahead and we ran an eco tour in 2004, and I was leading the eco tour, and I was traveling with about 8 or 10 people, and there was a confiscation in Sarum where we work, and we decided to go ahead and look and check on the birds and see what was happening. When we got there, we were not happy. They were at the forestry department. There were Moluccan cockatoos, cassowaries, red-cheeked parrots, and eclectus. We knew some of the birds were already dead, and they were super stressed out, and we were afraid they were going to die. So we broke up into 2 teams, and part of the team, thank you, I'll just go, hello. Part of the team stayed in Mashohi to try to get the birds police evidence, but we bribed them with a digital camera. Works sometimes. And then I moved with the rest of the team, and we went to Sarum and rushed into the forest to build cages in the forest. We had overnight. We just made them out of simple wire. We had pails and children's stuff for bowls and stuff, and we got the place set up. And believe it or not, the next day we got the birds. They came in the afternoon, and we knew that if we didn't do something right that night, they were going to die. They were stressed out. They were starving. They were still in the trappers' cages. And so we moved them to the forest, where we put them in overnight, praying that they were going to live. And the next morning, all of the cockatoos lived. A couple of the red-cheek died. And we knew that that was the beginning of something new. By 2005, we were putting in Stuart Metz and Barbara Bailey. We're putting in huge amounts of money. We built a rescue center, which blossomed to about 65 flight cages, a medical clinic, medical testing, and everything that we needed on hand to go ahead and do what we could for the birds. So our first release of cockatoos into the wild was in 2006. And those are some of the first guys that we got. So it can be done. It's complicated. But once you're in Sarum, you never want to call a salmon-crested cockatoo again. I know. It's really true. It's really true. What is the cost of living there in those months and months living? Okay. I will. Yeah, absolutely. That was a really good question. It's regarding what do people make there. We are actually involved in most of the people that work at the rescue center are former trappers. They get paid because they know how to handle the birds. We also employ them as ecotourism guides because they know where to find the birds. We have local manager, and in the village, we also have established in Masihulan an ecotourism program. It is nothing fancy, but you have a chance to stay in the homes of the local women. They're called mamas. They have a bird picture on the front of their simple house, and we make sure that one does your laundry, one feeds you, you sleep at a house of another one. And so we try to employ as many people as we can in the village, and they are really engaged with us. Basically, I would say an annual monthly income in US dollars for someone working in that village is probably about 25 to 30. Dollars, yeah. They're in the complete high-end poverty level there. They have just recently gotten electricity. Up until 2 years ago, they had no running water. There's power only at night. But it is improving. We've been able to really kind of help step it up. But it really helps having the people directly engaged in the community, in the center, and in the whole conservation part. It's really important.
And you guys have come quite a way with the awareness in the community.
Yeah.
So I'm just showing a couple of photos.
We are really active. We have not only a conservation and awareness pride program that we do in the schools, we also reach out to the military, to the older people, multi-generational. We have all kinds of programs. Also, we get people so excited. They're so engaged. They're doing things like this cockatoo float in Masalembu. We now have in 2 areas, we have people that do their own traditional cockatoo dances, which I could teach you, but maybe not today. I'm very embarrassed when I do it, but it's worth it. They have costumes. They have all kinds of things. Posters. There's posters at the harbor. People are engaged because once you reach them and they really understand how important these animals are and that we can help them find ways to help themselves, it works. We do not go in there and impose our own personal agenda on them. We have to work at their level and find out what they need.
Right. Otherwise, you feel like you're invading.
Right.
They may feel like they're invading.
Right. And we have just real simple. Indonesia is 17,500 islands. That's huge. 6,000 are inhabited, and probably there are 600 different cultures and dialects there. So you're dealing with also the biggest Muslim country in the world. There's Hindu, there's Christian, there's Buddhist, and also a lot of tribal beliefs. And so you have to kind of work at each place and be careful and learn so you know what you're doing.
With 17,500 islands, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about this last night, look at these pictures, don't even look real.
No, it doesn't.
But with 17,500 islands, and you guys had stated that over half, there's probably species, over half are undiscovered.
Correct.
So, and with that being said, I was thinking about this morning in the shower. The Abadi cockatoo is only on one island.
Right.
The Moluccan cockatoo is only on the island of Seram.
Yes.
So that meaning that, okay, those 2 birds are on 2 different islands. Those are the only parrots on those islands.
There's other parrots on Seram.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Abadi cockatoo on Masakambing, that was one of our projects. That bird is down to 24. Active resistance storm, I'll get to that in a minute too, absolutely. The Abadi cockatoo was rediscovered. It was thought to have gone extinct. It was discovered in 1907 by D.L. Abbott. Populations in the 60s were in the hundreds and thousands in the island chain. And then in 1980, the oilmen and people came in from Sumbawa and started taking for the pet trade of souvenirs. And also the soldiers were shooting at them for sport, and they almost wiped them completely out. They had gone extinct on Masalembu pretty quick, and the only ones that are left now are on Masakambing Island, and that is a population now up to 24.
24.
24.
Okay.
Yeah. And the question Storm just asked, which I think is really relevant, is that there are territory wars. I have to say, Masakambing, we don't really have a problem because the island is so darn hard to get to that nobody goes there. You have to be crazy to go there, and that's why I go, because it's a 17-hour fishing boat trip in open ocean. However, in Seram, we don't really have problems with drug wars. There are some territorial things. We are dealing with some unusual, tragic. Thank you, Adrian Mostrick. I'm not used to looking, talking, and reading at the same
Yeah,
time.
and if you just keep talking, I'll pay attention to what people are questions they're
Okay.
asking, and I can bring them up.
Okay, the active resistance that we've run into or problems are in Papua. Papua borders, there's New Guinea and then West Papua, and there's an area where we are working with the birds. There is a lot of illegal drug trade coming in from New Guinea through Papua, and so there are some dangerous areas there. When we do go there frequently, we want to make sure where the demonstrations are, just avoid them. And we do travel with a bodyguard. We don't have to do that anywhere else, but in Papua we usually do, just to be safe.
Okay.
Also, when you work in some of these areas, you have to go ahead and do what's called a surat jalan, which are walking papers. And so whoever's traveling with us, we have a picture of you, a copy of your passport. We go to the police department, and they make the sign that they post to the police departments and all these places saying that we're out there. So if something happens, people can find us, or hopefully find us. But so far, I have to tell you guys,
You've been doing this for how many years, Ann?
15. I have only been relatively nervous once. I'm completely comfortable with that, including traveling alone.
Because you were telling me, or we were discussing this last night, that the native population is very kind.
They are amazing. It may be the biggest Muslim country in the world, but it also has, these people treat you so well. I have never had many more people want to feed me in one day. They're like, come from my house. Now come to my house. Now come to my house. And it's like, oh, really? Okay. You're treated well. People wave at you. If I don't look like them. So if I'm on the back of a motorbike, people are waving and honking and screaming and want to pose for pictures. And they're very welcoming. The hardest part about being there is not the work of fighting the trade. It's trying to stop doing selfies.
Yeah.
It's like everybody, It's like, but what I've learned, and we can make a difference. And it's just, you have to be brave. You have to be a little crazy, and you have to be smart.
And you have to be respectful.
And that's the most, respectful is everything. We have to respect every single culture. We have to know what their things are and make sure they go in. Because when we work with those people, I don't want to see anybody to go extinct. Can I divert back to that for a minute on the
Sure.
Abadi?
Yep.
Okay. This is my first live stream. Yesterday was my first one. This is like new to me. So it's like a little, whoa, okay. The Abadi cockatoo, let me tell you where we're at with that. We put in an active conservation and awareness pride program on the island. It is only 5.5 kilometers across. You can walk it. The birds have got 5 active nesting sites. We are in the process, actually 2 years ago, we worked with the king and we were able to purchase habitat on the island. It's not under IPP, it's under our Indonesian part because of the fact we were able to protect habitats. So what we did with that is we planted gardens, and there were already natural trees, or coconut, papaya, all that kind of stuff. So that garden, call it Becca Park, that's a nickname for the bird. So the local community run it. It protects the habitat. It allows us to have extra food for the birds and extra food for the local community who is starving. So by doing that together, we work together. It works out really well. It's called Ganti Rugi. It's a win-win situation. Now, as we're moving forward with the Abadi cockatoo, we're concerned because there's very little genetic stock, and they're not really known very far. In Indonesia, you can't just go take a bird and something this endangered. You can't just say, okay, first of all, we need to find out the genetic type. We cannot take these birds off the island. The king made a rule, and the fact that there are no other citizens on the island and the boat trip is so long, they would surely die if they left the island. So what we're doing is we're going to work with the government and some new partners, Wildlife Preserve Singapore and a couple of people in Australia, to work together with the Indonesian government, get the permits so we can do the genetic testing on the Abadi. Then if we can find the actual genetic setup, then what we're going to do is we have opportunities to test the wild flocks in Hong Kong and Singapore, as well as other areas where there might be potential collections of abbots. If we can find genetic stock, then the plan would be we can go back to the other island, Masa Lembu, where they went extinct, and start an in-situ breeding situation there. How many different types of cockatoos in Indonesia? This cockatoo is a subspecies of the sulfur-crested. There's the citron-crested, there's the...
You want to scoot over here a little bit? I'm having a hard time getting over this way.
No, it's opposite.
you
See, it's
more-
opposite
yep.
for me. Okay,
There you go.
that's why I was goofy. It is a subspecies we think of the yellow-crested cockatoo. There also are umbrella cockatoos. There are Moluccan cockatoos. There's palm cockatoos. There are Goffin's cockatoos. Absolutely, I forgot that one the other day. Goffin's cockatoo, Goffini. And then there's the Gallerita, all the yellow crested from Papua. And then we have Eclectus. We have great bills. We have red cheeks. We have gazillion kinds of lories. There are a lot of birds over there. I mean, a lot. How many weeks are you in Serum? Normally, I go for about 3 weeks. Yes, we're hoping that there's private sector has some stock. That's my dream. And we just have to kind of take it a little step at a time. I think we'll be moving forward in the genetics in the next year. When I visit Serum, we do a couple things. First of all, I'm not doing one this year, but I do lead eco tours because that brings money to the community. And so then we would go, like the last year we went to Komodo and we went to Serum and we went to Masakambing. We're going to try to ramp that program up a little bit and get some help next year. I need help. If you're crazy and you're good in the field, call me. And pretty much last year I made 5 trips to Indonesia, which is quite a few. But we're just ramping up our rescue center, and we've been approached now by 2 of the major national parks to help them build rescue centers as well. But that means we have to educate all these people, and it's pretty complicated. I got to take a breath.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Because can I bring up something? I know we're kind of bouncing everywhere, but I wanted to make sure you and I talked about this. I believe it was yesterday morning. I want to make sure we talk about the rehabilitation center.
Yes.
Over there, but also when some of the problems that you run into when you get all these confiscated birds to you, and then you're rehabilitating. Will you talk a little bit about the importance of them? They need to go back to where they came from and why, because I think a lot of people do not understand that.
This is super important, and we just established this protocol and procedures. Stuart Metz and I did together, along with IUCN and CITES. We wanted to make sure we were doing this safe for the birds and proper with the government. Now, when birds are confiscated from the illegal trade, again, sometimes they're kept as evidence. Sometimes they're sent to us. They want us to take the birds. The problem with the disposition of the birds is that they have now been through possibly,
Sorry,
that's okay. They have been through stress. They've been exposed to disease. They may be injured, which is another problem. And we can't just let them go. In the past, Indonesian officials would hard release the birds, and predominantly they would die if they weren't in the right place or they weren't ready. So we will take the birds, we will bring them back. What we have to do is, first of all, we have to identify if they're sick, do some medical testing, do any medication. We have to put them in quarantine. They have to be in quarantine. After being in a trafficker's house, they have to be in quarantine. After 30 to 60 days, if their quarantine is looking good, their tests are looking good, we have to move them into socialization cages where they're going to be together and learn. We're going to watch wild behavior. Do they interact? Can they fly? Do they know what forest food is? Yeah. Hi. That's really important, because if they don't have those skills, they're not going to make it in the wild. But what Laura brought up is super important. It's called endemism. And endemism means that the birds need to go back to the area where they came from. If I took an umbrella cockatoo, for instance, and I have it in Serum and I let it go, it will not know what its predators are. It will not know where to nest. It will not know where to eat. It will not know the fruiting season. It may be fighting for nest sites. It will not work. And it can also be bringing diseases from a different place into the area. So that's one of the things that's crucial, is that you have to be able to identify and get it correct. And that has been one of the things that I've been pounding on with the Indonesian government along, because they're kind of like, oh, okay, just let them go. You can't do it that way. They're beginning to understand that now. I'm going to say that they made a release about 1.5 years ago against, well, they're not going to care what I say, but we said not to do it, and they did it anyway. And they released about 16 to 20 birds. Actually, these birds were turned in after the cockatoo water bottle scandal. They were turned into the local government. And so they kind of did it as, unfortunately, a publicity opportunity. And they took some birds, including some sick birds that I recognized were sick, and took them out into the forest and just opened these small translocation cages and pushed them out. Some of the birds were hanging on to people. They were afraid to go. And that was wrong. And they got a lot of throwback from that. People were really getting mad. The government got kind of a lot of letters. So they came back to us again, and now that's kind of put it, so they're kind of getting to try to figure out the right way.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
So let's look for some questions I know people have here.
Sure.
Please place a website. I just did. So did Angela. So did everybody else.
Endemism. Endemism.
Okay, spell that again. Endemism. Endemism. Thanks, Rock. Okay, so let's look. Laura says it's never as simple as we tend to think it is.
People can't find this live.
If people can't find this live, you guys please share this. If you just click share, they'll be able to find the direct link. Okay, so all right. Do you want to tell a little bit about? Okay, so we talked a little bit. Do you want to say a little bit about the past, where IPP is right now, and its future? Because you guys have come such a long way.
Absolutely.
There's been a lot of struggles. There's been a lot of just trying to get the Indonesian Parrot Project out there for people to be aware what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, and how you do it.
Okay. Yes. So yeah, we started out doing really well, and that again was because we're relating to people at the local level. But after a few years and working with Stuart Metz and doing what we need to do, we realized that we have to be able to get to the middle people. It's the people that are not in the top of the government. It's somewhere in the middle. You got to start making nice with them too, and that's much more challenging.
That's probably one of the hardest things.
It's really hard to think of doing international relations with a bunch of men in Indonesia, to be honest with you. So we had a great rescue center going. We had a great conservation and awareness pride going. We had another conservation and education program going on in Jakarta and in Madura, where the bodies are. So we got all that stuff going. But then it started kind of slowing down again, because it's hard to figure out the next steps. And what it is collaboration. And so I have to say, I'm really pleased that in the last 2.5 years, we have gone and taken a leap forward. We are now working directly with the Wildlife Conservation Society Crime Unit, which is, the World Wildlife Conservation Society under an Indonesian Crime Unit. We're busting people right and left all over the archipelago, not just for parrots, but for tigers, for bears, for everything. And those people are quite fierce and doing a very good job. That's important. We're also working with BirdLife International. We're working with Burung Indonesia, a couple of other the World Reserve Singapore Fund. We've got funding from them. We've got people coming in now from eyes all over the world. Australia, Budapest. We have a documentary going, which is really exciting.
This is huge.
It's really huge. Actually, it could be 2 documentaries, and the first one is dedicated to Stuart Metz and our work, and we are going to do as much as we can to expand our message to as many people around the world. We're also doing it in Indonesian. I'm not voiceovering that. You can hear it. Penalty for smuggling birds out. Yes. It used to be, that's why I'm saying things are changing. There's a paradigm change. When that thing happened, people were still basically getting arrested, a small fine or, a pat on the hand, and that was it. No more. Actually, if you are busted now, yeah, I know them. The Indonesian Parrot Lover community, yeah. Sorry.
I'll bring
Okay, I
these
keep
up.
forgetting.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
That's okay. Just
You can't
because
teach an old dog new tricks.
it'll take you off topic.
That's exactly what it did.
Yep.
And my topic was?
We were talking about the documentary.
Oh yeah, the documentary. Okay. And the paradigm change. That was what we talked about, the paradigm change in Indonesia. So now, if you are busted, you get jail time, long jail time, fines, and they're trying to work a way now that you also have to pay for the care of the animal afterwards.
Oh, isn't that?
That's something that's in the works. So in other words, if somebody does something and we get 20 cockatoos, that person who's in jail and pays a fine also has to pay for the care of the cockatoos.
Oh, good.
So that could be really cool.
Wow.
The smuggling is still going on. I can't say it's stopped, and it's not pretty. But again, like the local community, and this is going to sound a bit harsh because you have to understand I'm working with tribal people as well. But when we did a release in North Maluku, and we had the local king, we had the head of the military, the police, everybody there. It was very formal, to let these birds go. And afterwards, the local Kampala, the king, came up to me and said to me, if anybody in my community takes a bird, I will cut their hand off. And he meant it. I mean, they're like, they get it now. Now, I know that sounds pretty fierce, but we're not working in a place, we're not in America,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of amazed at that. But then the young people are really worried about it. I think if we have documentaries and can spread the word, we can also influence more people in Indonesia. There's a new president coming in, so we have to start all over with that.
And you guys, if you can help share this documentary.
Yeah.
This is a documentary in the works, and people need to be aware of this. Did you want to take a couple minutes and talk about this documentary real quick?
Sure.
I don't want to take this off topic, but
no, it's okay.
This is important.
Yeah. So we had no dreams of doing a documentary, and just shows you how things happen with no reason. Well, actually, a good reason. Dr. Janice Boyd saw me speaking last year there, and I said to her, "We really need some young scientists. We need some help. I'm not getting any younger, and I'm not a scientist. I've learned this all in the field by myself. I'm nobody. I'm just a normal person." And so she contacted Dr. George Ola, who was a parrot biologist who's in Australia, who worked at Tambopata, putting their ecotourism program together. Very knowledgeable. He's a geneticist. We communicated, and the next thing you know, I said, "Hey, I'm going to Indonesia in 10 days. He goes, "Oh, I want to go there and do a project." I was like, "Cool." I said, "Why don't you go on our eco tour?" So I sent him a link, and he came back and said, "Indeed, I want to go. You have a great program put together." We talked a little more, and he came back and he said, "I'm part of Wildlife Messengers, and we are a conservation filmmaking company, and we just finished doing something for Tambopata. We think your story is worth telling." So we made a deal. They sent over the cinematographer and got the equipment. I paid for his plane ticket, and we shot a documentary. And we're going to be shooting more this summer. And they're fantastic. We have drone footage. They interviewed everybody. It is really going to change the people's perception of what's going on. And they're very, very talented. I'm just honored to have these people with me.
And their name is Wildlife Messengers?
WildlifeMessengers.org.
Okay.
You can see clips of their stuff there.
Yeah, wow, okay. I should type that in. But you guys, you can find the GoFundMe page right here. I'm not able to bring up video through my live streams, but the documentary is very moving. And take a look at it, and you'll see the great work being done.
Yeah, we know we're not looking for a huge amount of money. We're not like HBO or some big company. We're able to do this because we can do it inexpensively. But the team is very talented. They just shot for the BBC. So we're looking to raise money for post-production, and mostly so hopefully it can get on Netflix next year. We can go ahead and just start spreading the word as much as possible. And I'm just really excited about the whole darn thing.
Yeah. There's a couple things.
Okay.
A couple things we wanted to talk about too. We'll come back to the documentary, but do you want to talk about Shelley Hostetler made a donation, committed to a donation last night in the Parrot Project, the live stream, and for $40 a month. Do you want to tell that story?
I do. We feel it's really important to work with, especially empowering the women there. In Indonesia, they don't necessarily have a strong position. In some areas, it's better than others. And in Serum, we decided in January when we were there to go ahead and not only work with the local women for, I love your cockatoo shirt.
Could you pay attention to the camera?
I'm sorry.
I'm paying attention to down here.
I'm like a cockatoo. I'm like,
you are.
Okay,
that's why I am intentionally hiding the comments.
You know what? Oh no, you got to see it. Okay, I'm just going to put my hand there. All right, I can't see it. Okay, empowering the women. I got it. Okay, so we believe that's really important. The women and children have health issues. The women, they're very poor. So one of the things that we needed to have forest food and enrichment gathered on a regular basis for the birds at the center. The men working there were not exactly thrilled about going out and picking fruit and climbing trees. They're kind of macho, okay? So we went ahead and found a woman who is a teacher in the village. She's also strong in the local church, and she's a very, very organized woman. So we reached out to her, and we have her organizing women and children that are going out 3 times a week and gathering forest food, gathering enrichment, and getting things for the birds and delivering them to the rescue center. I mentioned that she is a teacher, and she makes about $40 US a year as a teacher in the school, and she works there full time as well. And Sherry generously offered to give us another Shelley, another $40 a month. So that woman's income is going to double. Her life is going to change. Her children, it's going to change. It's amazing. I mean, it's really, really powerful. These people are very, very poor. Women need to be empowered. That's why on Masa Kambing, besides having the land that we bought, they make cookies and syrup and things out of mangrove, which we sell on the next island. We have women's cooperatives trying to make handicrafts. The women really need to find a way to make money. And so, staying in their home, that's great. They get money, and it's a very intensive cultural experience, I guarantee you. They'll be sleeping in the family bed with maybe the dogs or not. And they need little things too, like they have no towels. They have no rugs. They're usually dirt floors in the houses. So any of those kinds of little things you can find are good too, because it makes them feel more civilized.
And it's coming from people that are supporting the Indonesian Parrot Project.
Yeah, and it sounds like stupid, like a towel, but you have no idea. I mean, these people are not rich.
Well, that's probably, coming from people supporting the Indonesian Parrot Project, that's probably building, I'm sure it is, a stronger working relationship between the Indonesian Parrot Project, the native people there, and the love of parrots.
Yeah, exactly. So and I'll tell you, they're the most loving. The women, especially the children, are amazing. I mean, I do have to say that there are times that the conditions aren't exactly what you call fabulous, but that's okay because the people get the money. But like you leave the village, or you leave your hut, you will have 10 children holding your hand, dragging you around. These kids have no access to internet, no cell phone service, no connection with the outside world. They're incredibly pure, loving children, and they will just drag you everywhere. The women are all with you. I mean,
I love this.
It's really, really, really cool. And it makes me so happy.
Yeah. And a couple of things like what we were talking about this morning, Shelley making the $40 a month donation to the teacher to help educate the students. Beth Peoples wants to make a donation and send some gifts to Dwee. Yeah. You want to talk? Can you talk a little bit about Judy and Dwee? Sure. Let me get their photo. Go ahead.
Okay. Judy and Dwee have been working with us since 2008. They're a married couple. They were both educated in Jakarta. They both have degrees in biology. Duty is currently working on his thesis for the Abadi cockatoo.
And Duty and Dewey are the couple on the front left?
Yes, yeah. And that's actually in North Malibu. And they are like my family. We have been working very closely together. Dewey, and they're really good in the field, but also Dewey is my translator. And we've been doing this for so long that literally she stands next to me, we have the same body language when we're talking, and we can communicate, because there are many dialects, and it's really important to be able to get the message across quickly. She also adores selfies. I mean, she's the selfie queen I've ever met. She's fun, she's playful. Duty is a good student. She is so smart. Between the two of them, we have one of the strongest teams I've ever seen. And that's really hard to find in a country like Indonesia. And I love them dearly, and we do everything we can for them.
I don't even know them. And I'm Facebook friends with them. They both work for the Indonesian Parrot Project. They're the ones on the ground, on foot over there, keeping in touch with you. This is what's going on. Yeah. This is what we need help with. This is what we need to do next. You guys, this is such an awesome collaboration. It's making the hair stand up on my arms. And I feel like I know Duty and Dewey from following them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And through the work that they're doing.
They really do the great work. And the thing is, too, that because of things like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, my phone is dinging all night, because I'm hearing from them. I'm hearing from people all over the world in the middle of the night. I'm finding out about busts. I mean, it's like
you've been staying the night with me. You've been staying here in the house for the past 2 nights. This woman doesn't sleep. The other day, I'm like, I got to go take a shower. She's like, all right, I'm going to call Budapest. And then through the night, like I sleep with my phone next to me.
Oh, do you really?
And I sit there and check, and I'm like, what are you doing awake? I can tell you're in the other room. You're making posts. You're responding to each and every person that is making a donation to this documentary.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Okay, there are a couple other things.
Oh, I had one other thing about the rescue center.
Sure.
Things that we do need besides like sundries for the women's homes, and I think that's the kind of thing I would rather buy them there than travel with
them.
I made that mistake one time. I said I need T-shirts, and I got like 4 cases of T-shirts, which I had carried to Indonesia.
So before I put your email address up and have people how to contact you with what you're getting ready to say, what would you?
So we would be great to get some school supplies for the local school, like coloring books and things, because we do a conservation program there, and that's really welcome by the children. Again, things for the women, they call themselves Mama Mumu and Mama Imi, and they all have their names, and they treat you just like a big baby, but it's wonderful. And they have some pretty strange food, but that's okay. But some things, also I put down, we have a lot of lorries, and lorry food is really difficult to obtain in the island of Seram. We have to purchase it in Ambon and bring it in. Before, all the lorries were getting banana, papaya, and coconut. And so the lorries really need the nutritional base to have better food. So that's something that's always needed. And we don't have refrigeration, so
I was gonna reinforce that very undesired behavior, because what you're talking about is much more important. Go
right.
ahead. We don't have refrigeration.
We don't have refrigeration.
Lorry food.
Lorry food is dry, which is really important. I'm hoping if we start working on the infrastructure in the next 6 months, we can get electricity there and maybe get a small refrigerator. But in the meantime, we're working under really primitive conditions. So lorry food is important, because that's a chartering lorry, by the way, that was just released back into the wild last year. We were at the release. And then the last thing is going to sound really silly, but it isn't. You know what? We have pets at the rescue center. These birds are never going to be able to be released. They don't have the ability. They're bonded to humans. Breaks my heart.
You're going to start seeing some information on a bird named Apple.
Yeah. Indonesia, when they bust people, they will take all the birds. If they're considered endangered, whether it's somebody's pet from 40 years or if it is a wild one, they take them. And we have several birds there, 5 or 6, that are totally incapable of they're bonded to people. They do not know, maybe they haven't had the right diet. They're lonely. We put them in big flights with other cockatoos.
This isn't one. This is one that was seen in a restaurant.
Right. Hey, but something that found in the past that worked great was actually getting some bird toys out there. No, I'm serious.
Oh, I'm just sitting there thinking, bird toys.
Bird toys.
Gee.
Yeah. No. No,
Hear
I
that,
don't.
volunteers?
I can't take 10 cases of bird toys out there.
But can we ship them there?
They could be shipped there. Absolutely. We could find a way. Once we get them there, it's easy. It's just for me carrying them because I carry a lot of contraband and things. I have a lot of things to take into the country that we need for the center. But yeah, toys are awesome. You know,
if any of the volunteers are watching, let's get a package started.
Or you know, like the portable perches, you know, the kind of thing that screws on the side of the cage?
Yeah.
The short ones? Yeah. Smaller birds. A lot of times the birds chew through the stuff. It sounds silly. I mean, we're in the forest and there's trees and stuff, but it's helpful.
What's that, Rock? Go ahead.
He was saying, yeah, I want a toy.
And if you have questions on this, here's how to reach Bonnie.
Yeah, and feel free. I mean, I'm willing to talk and offer anything that we can do. And I do need help. I mean, we do need help. I mean, we're a very small organization. Laura is the wind under our wings. And we're just trying to do as much as we can. And we're not giving up. I'm in this for the long run.
Good. I'm not giving up either. I'm in this for the long run. Hey, thanks, Rock. So a couple of more things. Can we touch on 2 more topics before we end?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about Stuart?
Yeah. Stuart Metz was my mentor and my teacher. He was an amazing doctor. He graduated from Yale, and he ran into...
This is amazing.
He basically went to a bird store and saw with Parrot Jungle. He went to the Parrot Jungle.
Okay.
And he saw these cockatoos and he was really interested in them. So he decided to give up his career and start traveling for a while.
And what kind of physician was he?
He was an endocrinologist at the top of his field. And he started traveling all over the world to see parrots in the wild. He went to see the spics. He went everywhere. And then he went into a pet store and saw China.
I remember reading about China.
And at that particular point in time, once he got China, he knew he wanted to do everything he could. He gave up his career to make a change for the birds of Indonesia. And he founded this with Barbara Bailey, and they set up this strong, wonderful thing that started out as Project Birdwatch, but is now the Indonesian Parrot Project. And this rescue center is his legacy. And I am just a normal parrot geek. I was nobody. I was just interested, as you know, we were interested in something. He taught me so much. He's turned me into a scientist, which I am not.
Oh.
He's turned me into a doctor, which I'm not. And in Indonesia, they call me a professor, which is just ridiculous. But he inspired me, and I just decided that this is something I want to do for the rest of my life.
Don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments. I'm looking up.
I need to target train your eyes right here.
Is that where we're supposed to look?
Right here. Well, I always look at the screen.
I can be trained.
I can tell what you're doing. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that about Stuart because you did too. When I first found out about the Indonesian Parrot Project back in 2005, I was reading your field notes. You guys can go to the Indonesian Parrot Project's website. I had learned about Stuart Metz, and it was on my bucket list to meet Stuart. Unfortunately, he recently passed away, and his legacy continues on in several different ways. And one is through you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I have, before we go, I have a couple of things I want to give to you. But don't forget, I do want to mention real quick again, the documentary. It's coming out soon. They're asking for some additional funding. And you can find that right here. If you go right here, I highly suggest you watch this trailer. It is so moving. I was telling Bonnie last night, I've watched it at least 30 times. At least 30 times. My heart belongs to the Indonesian Parrot Project. It always will. It has for quite a while, and it has no end in sight. So anyways, a couple of gifts I want to give to you.
Okay.
First of all,
I need a coffee cup with the critters. I have no coffee because it's later in the day. We had too much coffee.
we had too much so far.
Thank you.
I want to give you this, and I
Product
want
placement.
to give you this.
Whoa.
So it's cold here in Northwest Ohio.
It is cold. I had to borrow a jacket yesterday because it's so cold here and rainy.
And something else I want to give you, I've been wanting to give this to you for a while. This is from myself and the Animal Behavior Center and all the critters. There's a $1,000 check
Wow, you're going to be a sponsor.
towards the sponsorship of this documentary.
Wow. Wow.
Just don't show the numbers at the bottom.
Again, okay, we won't show the numbers. I will tell you, we have a spot for 8 sponsors, and those sponsors will have their logo and all of their information at the beginning of the documentary. As a
Say that
sponsor.
again, I'm sorry?
Basically, your logo and all your information will be at the head of the documentary as a sponsor.
I just want to be a part of,
Thank you.
I would just want to be a continuing part of the Indonesian Parrot Project.
Cheering up.
The support, I know I'm sitting here like I was sitting here once, trying not to. But, you know, consider giving anything towards this documentary because this is so what is needed,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. And stay and follow our work. You know, we'll be doing more updates. I need volunteers. I need help. I just need people to talk to as well because it's a big project and there's not that many of us. So I appreciate everything you're all doing.
Yeah, there's a few amount of people doing a lot of labor. So, I mean, the different ways you can help in the ways that we're helping, donating money, donating toys, donating gifts, just what Beth want, you know, or what Shelly's doing for that teacher, donating those gifts to the teacher to say thank you for helping educate the students and the community. I know something else I wanted to talk about. Okay, we're trying to figure out how to put this together, but everybody has been asking me for these bracelets. Okay, we lost our bracelet maker. So what I've done, and if you guys don't know the story, Rocky, our 20-year-old rescued Moluccan cockatoo behind us that says peekaboo all the time, was my gateway to the Indonesian Parrot Project. You guys know his story. He was going to be put down for behavior issues. He is now one of the sweetest birds here at the center. He is one of the biggest educators. What he likes to do is chew on beads, all right? So I've taught him to drop it on cue. He chisels these beads, and he drops them on cue, these beads right here. What I've done is I've purchased some necklaces like this, and I will include 3 beads per necklace for you to do with what you want. I've added my Key West, because Key West is my heart as well. Hi, Rocky. I've added my Key West charm to it, but these beads are definitely chiseled and beak made by Rocky. We are for a $45 donation. Okay, all proceeds go 100% goes to the Indonesian Parrot Project. How did we decide for now? Until we get a link on the website?
Probably the best thing to do is to go to our website and donate. Use that as in the line. You know, there's a donate button for our PayPal. Just say donate, and then we'll say Rocky.
Yes.
Keyword Rocky, and then make sure that we get your shipping information because it'll be coming from Laura's.
Yeah. So that email will go to the Indonesian Parrot Project. They will forward me your shipping information, and I will get you a necklace and 3 beads from Rocky. And all proceeds, we will pay the shipping and handling here at the Animal Behavior Center as an additional donation. All proceeds go to the Indonesian Parrot Project. Okay? And in helping that awesome community that has come so far in educating and educating their own public about the status and the importance of these birds, especially with the king saying, I catch you doing this. Hey, does positive punishment work? Yippers. I never said it didn't. Okay. Hey, Carol. Carol says she's in. All right. Shelly says, I showed my husband the documentary trailer this morning and also explained about our sponsorship, and he is feeling very good about it as well. I have had different wild caught cockatoos come through my home, and I am always so sad for them. How are you, Rock? Behind us is Coco, the 35-year-old wild caught umbrella cockatoo with a broken wing. It's really sad to know that, tickle wiggle, whatever. It's really sad to know that he knows what it's like to live out there and come from those beautiful islands. So thank you. Chris Armstrong says, Laura and Bonnie, you continue to inspire and teach me. I learn from every interaction with each of you. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. So with that being said, here is the link. Just go watch the documentary. If you do nothing else, just watch the trailer to this documentary, okay? And tell me it doesn't grab you. Second of all, please share this live stream. The more we can get this out, the more information. We can all help in so many ways. I want to go to Indonesia. I want to see Saram. I want to see this teacher. You know, I want to hang out there with you. I want to see this rehabilitation center. I want to spend some time there. I want to meet Apple.
Yeah.
I want to do so many things. Anything you guys need,
We can do it.
I'm there. Stay tuned for some things we have coming up. We have some, just stay tuned, okay? You guys are very welcome. So to find out more about the Indonesian Parrot Project, you can go to their website. Oh, I'm sorry. Or is that your email address? That's my email. If you want to reach Bonnie, Executive Director of the Indonesian Parrot Project, there is her email. If you want to see their website, you can find it there. That is where you can purchase the Rocky necklaces, $45, and just send Bonnie a message and say, this is in regards to Rocky, and she'll forward the information to me, and I'll get you your necklace shipped out. All right. So if you want to find out more about us here at the center, you can find more about us at theanimalsbehaviorcenter.com. If you want to email me directly, right there's my email address. This week, we're going to work on getting an enrichment package together and shipped to Indonesia. Cool. Okay. Well, with that being said, today's our last day together. We got a half a day tomorrow.
I want to stay.
I want you to stay. Can you just stay? Just live here. But anyways, thank you for this awesome shirt.
You're welcome.
This means a lot. Do you want to say anything about it?
These are the.
Oops, sorry.
Yours is a team member. Okay, your show's better because I'm short. I love it. These are the expedition shirts from the last expedition, which was last fall to Komodo, Saram, and Madura. And it's got our Konservasi Cockatoo Indonesia logo name on it, which is our Indonesian branch, and the Indonesian Parrot Project. They are a limited edition. I think that people really wanted some. I could possibly make some more.
Oh,
I pretty much gave them to the team members and people like Laura.
Thank you. I love it.
But they're actually made for wearing in the field. They're very comfortable.
They're very light.
Everybody on the team ended up wearing them like every single day on that trip practically. And George Ola, Dr. Lee, everybody, this is their favorite shirt now. Even when they were shooting down in Pampata, they were wearing these shirts. So
I love it. I love my shirt. I will wear that and my Rocky necklace with pride.
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I told her this would probably go for an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. So, Bonnie, what a long time coming.
I know. Oh, thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Sorry. Anyways, these are tears of joy just because this has been a long time coming. Yeah. All right, guys. Bonnie and I are going to head out for some more great conversations in our last day of hanging out together on this trip. Storm says, please come back when you can.
I
You
will.
guys have not seen the end of Bonnie
No.
and Bonnie and I together.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Have a great Mother's Day.
Oh, yes. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And dedicate this live stream to the Indonesian Parrot Project and to Mother Nature.
I love it.
I love it
Perfect.
too. All right.
Okay.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.